Hi, friends. So, we finally have our 2025 Australian Open champion, and it is none other than Yannick Sinner. Now, most of us predicted that Sinner would win eventually, but no one predicted it would be so easy for Sinner to win this match. I know that there were times in this match where Zverev had his opportunities, but overall, if you see, this was one of the best performances by Sinner that we have seen in his whole career. And I thought that probably because Sinner has already won this tournament last year and he's also not chasing Grand Slams, he's already world number one. So maybe there won't be that pressure or that much focus from him in this match, even though it's a Grand Slam match. But we saw that he had some physical issues in his few earlier matches, and he tend to lose focus also sometimes. But today, I mean, it was a almost perfect performance by Sinner. He started off well, whether we talk about his first serve or his return or so deep into the court, right at Zverev's feet. I think the way he started, I really thought that this match would be over very soon. Because if you see the match, if you compare the head-to-head matchup, right, there's not much Zverev can actually do to trouble Sinner. Of course, Zverev has his first serve, which is the key for him, and I think that is what kept him in the match, even though he was not playing as well as Sinner. If you look at the stats, if you look at the winners and forced errors, Sinner has a very good number there. Zverev doesn't. But still, Zverev was in the match. Even in the first set, he was behind, but still he was in the match till 3-all. In the second set, he had breakpoint chances. He played the match perfectly, took it to the tie break. Now, it all dependent on Zverev's first serve, as we all know that his first serve and his second serve both are very good. They both have a lot of pace. But if you see the points won percentage, Sinner actually won more points on his first serve because of the accuracy that Sinner has. And obviously, Zverev is not that good a returner as Sinner was returning, because Zverev was throwing consistently 200k plus speed serves, accurate serves, but it was getting returned with interest. And this match overall, I feel, was never in the hands of Zverev, and it always looked like only thing that could probably help Zverev win would be if Sinner faces any sort of physical issues, which we saw he might face in the third set. It looked like, but it was just a temporary thing. He was playing still very, very well throughout that third set. So, looking at the statistics, as I mentioned, the first serve percentage, I think Zverev had more first serves in. But if you look at the win percentage, you can clearly see Sinner had 84% win on his first serve, whereas Zverev just had 69%. Even on the second serve, again, Zverev has a very big second serve. Still, he was only able to win 50% of the points, and Sinner was 63%. So it just shows you the way Sinner was returning. He was not going for winners on the return, but he was just returning in the middle of the court deep so that Zverev cannot hit a winner from that position and the rally gets started. And once the rally got started, it was always Sinner who would come out at on the top. And the reason is Sinner has a better forehand. Sinner has a lot of speed on both wings, whether it's forehand or backhand. Sinner has better court coverage. He also possesses a good drop shot. He can go to the net and finish the volley as well. And the way he prepares for the shot, the way he's able to bend down and prepare for the shot, especially on this court where the ball doesn't bounce much, I think that is a key strength that Sinner has that Zverev doesn't. So a lot of times we saw Zverev made unforced errors. He was not able to get down to hit the shot, sort of trying to just hit the ball hard but not with the proper technique. So I feel all of those factors impacted the way the match went. Now there were some key factors. Before that, let's talk about winners and enforced errors. So, as I had already mentioned, 32 winners for Sinner and only 27 enforced errors. So, positive win to error ratio. Whereas, if you see Zverev, 25 winners and 45 enforced errors. So, clearly, you can see that the quality of play from Zverev was not there. But still, he was able to keep the match relatively close, keep the sets relatively close just because of his first serve. That really kept him in the match. Okay. Now, talking about the key factors. So, Sinner's first serve and return of serve. The way Sinner started the match, I had mentioned this yesterday that if Zverev has to win this, he has to play the first set very well and get an early lead. but he was looking nervous. He was hesitant. He was not aggressive, not going for his shots. That's all we had discussed yesterday, that he has to change that. It's easier said than done. It's very difficult to change the mindset specifically for one match, and that to a final of a Grand Slam. So maybe something that he could have done from the first round or second rounds, or maybe a few months back, where he tries to play extra aggressive, tries to come to the net and hit a few volleys, even if he misses it, even if he loses the match in smaller tournaments, obviously. But expecting him to come into the final, change his mindset, change his game plan completely. He tried to come to the net a lot of times, but he succeeded only 20% or 30% of the times, because he was coming not on a good approach shot, but just coming that's what the strategy because that's the strategy he wanted to apply. Correct. So he did well. The strategy was right, the execution was not there. And same with aggression. Sometimes he felt that he was not able to win the point from the back of the court. And at that time, maybe he tried to go for winners. But again, those were sometimes they went onto the net or sometimes they went out. So again, it was more out of desperation and not out of a tactic. So I really feel that Zverev, if he needs to win a Grand Slam, he has to improve on two basic things at this level. Now he's a great player, he's world number two, but if he has to eventually win a Grand Slam, most probably he has to beat either Alcaraz or Sinner or both to win the Grand Slam. And if that is going to happen, he has to improve on two key things. One is his aggressive game. I think he is very comfortable from the back of the court in baseline rallies. But if he plays against someone who is aggressive, then these sort of tactics won't work. Now, against someone like Novak Djokovic or Andy Murray or any other player who likes to rally from the baseline, Zverev would win a lot of matches because he is good enough from the back of the court. But the problem is with Alcaraz or with Yannick Sinner, they have a lot of firepower. They can increase the speed of the ball, hit a winner from any position in the court. That is the strength of their powerful ground strokes. So if Zverev just tries to play from the back of the court, that is not going to work. It will work if either Sinner or Alcaraz are out of form, they are spraying balls, they are not able to control it, or they are physically compromised. So in those situations, maybe Zverev could win. But if everything is working well for Alcaraz and Sinner, then Zverev has to change his game a little bit. That's the only way. So number one is the aggressive play, and second is the volleying skills. So today we clearly saw he missed some make a very makeable volleys. That is definitely not going to be enough at this stage of a Grand Slam if he has to win against Alcaraz or Yannick Sinner. So he has to improve his volleys, and the only way to do that is to practice them more in real matches, not just in a Grand Slam final, because that's not going to work. So maybe he has to sort of bring that into his game on a regular basis. When he plays first round, second round, just go for winners, just go for aggression, come to the net more, try to make difficult volleys, easy volleys. Obviously, he has to sort of look for a balance so that he does win the match. But still, those short, small things he has to try in important moments in smaller tournaments so that he could probably improve on that. Now, talking about the second factor, Zverev's forehand, as we all saw it today, it is a good shot, but it lacks consistency and it lacks the firepower. So Zverev's backhand was the one that has a lot of firepower, but again, because he looked very hesitant to go down the line a lot of times, right? So out of 10 times, maybe he was just going two or three times down the line. And that too, he was not going close to the lines. He was just changing the direction, but still the ball was more like in the middle of the court. So it did not trouble Sinner because Sinner has a great reach. He's able to cover the court really well. So the balls need to be either having a lot of angles, acute angles, or they need to be close to the lines. But neither was the case today. And that is why when you see any rally between Zverev and Sinner, you would realize that Zverev is hitting the ball really well, but still nothing is happening, right? It's getting returned with a lot of interest. Now, that is obviously we have to credit Sinner for that. But on the other hand, if you compare, right, if it was to Zverev's backhand, he would still be able to control the point, but not with his forehands. What Sinner was doing really well is he was peppering Zverev's forehand today. He was going deep into Zverev's forehand, and he was not going for a winner. He was just putting the ball deep into the Zverev's forehand, and Zverev was trying to control it, but sometimes he was making an unforced error, or if not, He was just returning a normal ball to Sinner, and then Sinner had the complete control what he wanted to do. He could change the direction, use his forehand, use his backhand, use his slice, use his drop shot, anything that he would have wanted, right? So definitely something to improve from Zverev's perspective. We mentioned two things already: aggressive style of play, the net game. I think this is again a third thing that he needs to improve. That is his forehand. The shot is good, but he has to add more firepower, more zip to it, so that he is able to produce winners with that shot. Third thing, Zverev's net game. We already covered it. Sinner's defending ability. So as I mentioned, we have to give credit to Sinner as well because he was defending really well. I mean, one of the shots, if you see the highlights, that was an amazing get. I think Zverev hit a 150 km an hour forehand, very deep, very quick, but still Sinner was able to run that down and hit, just block it and hit the ball again to Zverev's side of the court, and Zverev lost that point. So overall, I think movement from side to side, whether it's to cover the drop shot, all of that, Sinner has a great defending ability, and today his performance was almost virtuoso. So congratulations to him. Now, some of the examples that I already discussed, which I would like to mention is, so as you can see here, the court position. Sinner has a good court position. He's in the middle of the court. He can go either direction. Okay, Zverev, if you see, right, he is very far behind the baseline. First of all, second, the ball has been hit deep into the court to his forehand. Now, whatever Zverev does here, because he doesn't have that much firepower in his forehand, right? He could go cross court, he could go down the line, but that won't be a winner. Secondly, that won't be a shot with very high speed, so it won't trouble Sinner. Sinner is going to just take one or two steps, and he can control. He can hit his cross court backhand, he can hit the down the line backhand, and control the point from there. If I look at other example, so here is something, right, which Zverev needs to improve. So in this point, Sinner is out of position. As you can see, he is just outside the sidelines, and he has just returned the ball. So he's not yet into this position of defending this point. And at this point, Zverev needs to attack. Zverev needs to attack and come to the net and finish off the volley. That's how you're going to beat Sinner, right? But what he does is, because he was not confident, he was maybe hesitant to be aggressive from that shot. He tried to use a drop shot. Now, as we all know, Sinner is a great mover. He doesn't miss any of those shots. And even when he gets to the net, he knows what to do, right? So he reached to that ball easily and he hit a winner in this point. Now, this is just one example, but a lot of times the shot selection was not the correct one from Zverev. He could have attacked, he could have tried to hit a winner. Obviously, easier said than done, but strategy wise, I thought maybe he should have done a lot of things differently. Now, another example, as I mentioned, here also, if you see Sinner is in the middle of the court, but he is very far behind the baseline. Good opportunity for Zverev to hit a winner, cross court or down the line, but he has to hit with a lot of power. And with his backhand, he has that. So if you see the match, he was able to produce one or two winners of the swing, but not with the forehand. So overall, I feel that Zverev has a good game on his day with his first serve. That is his key weapon. He will always stay in the match. You saw it today: 25 winners, 45 unforced errors. Still, he was in the match in the first set also, second set also, and he had set points, not set points, but I think he had break points on Sinner's serve in the games where Zverev had an opening, whether it was love 15, love 30. One more thing that I want to mention is Sinner's ability to find a first serve when he actually needed it. It was just looking like how Federer used to always find a first serve when he needed. Just like that, Sinner was also finding an accurate first serve. That is why I feel that it was not easy for Zverev to beat Sinner with even with his good game. So a lot of things need to improve, but for Sinner, I feel that he is playing absolutely at his peak, and only Alcaraz for now, I think that is someone who could actually beat Sinner. So let me know in the comments what do you think of this match, and thanks for watching.